Yeah,
I'm
brilliant.
recording. Okay. Welcome to our Facebook Live this morning. I'm Fidelma Greene, and I'm having a discussion here this morning with Cai Graham, who is a teen and parent coach. And we're going to be talking about the business success toolkit for women, for mothers during COVID-19. And
as if by magic.
Sorry about that. Now, this is dealing with children when you are at home as a mom in business.
They have absolutely no sense of priority, do they, when it comes to...
And not especially when you're doing a live and, you know, you ask them to really behave themselves and not come into the room. I just had one in the room looking for her homework. She was in here this morning.
Well, that's the way of it, and I think the whole point is that we're all in the blimmin' same boat, so we have to appreciate that. Not only, well, the thing is for some people who are working at home, this might be for the first time, and for others it might be, no, this is business as usual. But usually our little angels aren't here, and so that's the difference. So when we're working from home, we tend to have the place to ourselves, and I'm now realizing that was a bit of a luxury.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm thinking about the times when I was here at home, and I wasn't so grateful for it. They'd go off to school, and I'd be here on my own, having loads of time to do my work.
Totally.
And now I'm thinking, oh my God, it was it was just a different time. So it's adjusting. Yeah. So today, myself and Cai are going to be talking about what challenges you face as a mom running your business at home, and we're going to tease out some ways that we're coping with it, and maybe help you. And we'd love to hear your comments, how you're dealing with it as well. And if you have any questions, please post them on Facebook and we will address them. And I'll keep an eye on the Facebook page.
Yeah, just to say that Facebook has a bit of a lag. So,
and can you see it's still there?
I'm watching, and we're all there, and it's lovely. Yes,
brilliant.
And we've got people sort of signing up. So, guys, I'm looking. This is unfair, guys. Come and say hello, because we can't actually see who you are unless you make yourselves known because of privacy settings and stuff like that. So, we'd love to give you a shout out, really.
Yeah. So just post your name, post your questions as we go through this. So the first one that's coming to mind is the homework and dealing with the homework at home.
Right. And so, well, the thing is that, and this is one point that I really think is terribly important, is what we have to remember as women or mums in business, is the fact that the working day, let's say, give or take, not really for entrepreneurs, but for many others, the working day is 9 to 5, and that's fine. And then the school day used to be sort of 8-ish to about 4-ish. But the parenting day is 24/7. So the thing is, you cannot shove all those hours and responsibilities and whatever into 24 hours and put sleep into the mix and you're stuffed. So what we have to remember and I think the thing is because we, majority of these people who are watching, or we're aiming at this as mums in business, is that we quite like being in control. We quite like to know what's going on. We quite like to do these sort of, here's my action list and here's my go-to stuff, and that's absolutely fine. But the children aren't quite allowing that to be as fluid. No. But what we have to remember is it is not really our job to educate our children. Our big job is to keep them safe, keep them happy. If you're doing that, I tell you what, pat on the back.
Yeah.
But we're not there to educate them. Especially the teens, it's their responsibility to know that mum's going live, and that therefore homework can either wait or should have been sent earlier. Let's face it. And that could be a lesson for them to learn pretty quickly. But also, if you've got slightly younger kids, it is not your job to teach them long division. It's not your job to correct all their homework. I would say hold a space for them, and then all the teachers that I speak to go, no. Come September, God willing, that's when we're going to be starting again. Come September, we will bring your child back up to the level that they need to be.
Yeah, good to hear that, Cai.
Yeah. Oh, seriously, yeah.
Yeah, because they get their homework every evening. Like, we didn't actually introduce ourselves. So, like, I work from home myself. Right. Yeah, I work from home myself as a business consultant and coach. And I've been working at home for years, okay? And so I'm used to actually operating at home. with my kids at school. So it's like having them doing homework now at home. I did feel initially that I would have to keep checking on it, but now I don't. Our youngest are 12, they're twin girls, and our eldest is 14. So she does her own homework. They have a schedule and all from the school. But there was a bit of me wanting to go and check it. But then I said, I just don't have time between my own business, running the house, food, sleeping, everything. So I just didn't take it on board, and I'm not,
No, and I think it's a responsibility that actually isn't ours to take on unless we choose to, and unless you've got time, and unless it's your choice. But don't feel that it is an expectation, because that's just blimmin' well not fair on anyone. And I think this is a great time for kids to start learning about sort of time management, and to learn about priorities, and to learn about it's not all about them and that sort of stuff. So it's good. It's good to have, those reminders. Yeah.
Do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yes, I do. My name's Cai Graham. I am, I've got a book somewhere. Author of the Teen, I was meant to wave it. Oh, here we are. Author of the Teen Toolbox, which is equipping parents and teenagers with the tools for navigating adolescence. And I tell you what, it's hard going at the minute, isn't it? I've got 2 kids. They are 20, I've got to get this one right. 24 and 26. So they are past the homework stage, but they are monopolizing my time, which is quite interesting. So we are online a lot, but I am it's sort of my mission to sort of help parents, because we not only in COVID-19 sort of situations, but this is why we're doing this, because we're helping mums at the minute, Fidelma, but it's my mission to support parents so that we can sort of build a happier and mentally healthier and happier generation of young people, because anxiety levels before all this were through the roof, and people are struggling at the minute, and we've got the tools to help. So that's what you and I are here for.
Yeah, and that's why we decided to come and do a call together. I help women with business success, women in business, whether they're working at home or running a business. And then Cai looks after the teens and the parents, and we thought it was a good match to come together and share our knowledge and experience to help women who are at home, and maybe, as Cai said earlier, working from home for the first time. You may be running your business, but this may be the first time that you're at home with family under the one roof, trying to get things done. So what other challenges are, well, I know challenges that I'm facing. Okay,
I've got a challenge.
Okay.
Can I ask you,
yeah.
But for a women in what I have found is that my sort of day hasn't changed terribly much, because I have always worked from home. But for some reason, I'm getting less done with the same. So what's going on here? And how can I stop that? Because I'm sort of now doing I've got all the time in the world, which is fine, but I'm not feeling as productive as I should be. So what do we do there?
What's happened is, for me, and I've noticed it, is when any change, sudden change happens, our habits and our whole routine is thrown up in the air.
Right. Yes.
So what was working before won't work now. So we have to kind of reassess it and see, well, what do I need to change? What do I need to adapt? And because we're in such uncertain times, handling change, we need to kind of be very agile or flexible with ourselves. Because I know when I try to push myself to do what I used to do in a working day, I just become overwhelmed. And then I get nothing done.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to, what I'm practicing is trying to just take a chunk of time. I knew we had this call this morning. So I was a bit flexible this morning with my kids, saying, well, you can have a half an hour on this laptop this morning to do something, but I need it at this time from 10:30 till 12 o'clock. And then as I was sitting down here, my eldest daughter popped in her head and said, well, can I have it for 20 minutes? I need to send in an assignment. So it's like we have a team at home now.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, okay. Right. That's fair enough.
So we have to work with the team and find a new way to communicate with them. And I tell you, it's on a daily basis, I'm having to recap and trying to help them to understand. And it's something I want to talk to you as well about, where maybe one of them is getting really annoyed about this whole situation and saying, nobody's listening to me, and why can't I have my own way, like?
Yes. Okay.
I don't know, does that help? Be more flexible on yourself.
Yes.
Have reduced the amount of work that you're aiming to achieve in a day, and don't try and plan the whole week out. Just do it for the next day. So I'm trying to do it the night before.
You see, that's a great, that's one thing I sort of say to kids when they're revising, actually. It's, you know, because they sort of need the guidance on, you know, how to cope with, well, non-study sort of time, or, you know, sort of home study, really. So they're in the same sort of situation at the minute where they are not at school and potentially not revising, but doing the schoolwork under their own sort of steam. And it's something called the Pomodoro Method. I don't know, Fidelma, if you've heard of it.
Okay, tell me about it.
It's basically a bit like what you said, shove things into bite-sized chunks. And it was invented by an Italian guy, and what he did was he set a timer, a kitchen timer, for sort of, you know, periods of time. It happened to be the shape of a tomato, so he called it the Pomodoro, Italian for tomato. He called it the Pomodoro Method. And really what it is bite-sized chunks with lots of breaks. You know, rather than sort of say to your child, right, you've got 2 hours of maths, or you've got 3 hours of English, or whatever, it's, that ain't going to work. And it depends on their attention span. And this is the same for me. I still get bored after about 30, 40 minutes. Even if I've got 10 minutes to go to finish something, I go, oh, no, I can't be able to do this. So what the trick is to do sort of, turn everything off, and maybe even just for sort of 35, 40 minutes, flat out do something, and then give yourself 15 minutes, whatever, break. So you go to the loo, you do a tiny bit of surfing. What I suggest is setting a timer for that rest time, because otherwise surfing turns into little
that's a good point.
And so it's a sort of 45 minutes on, 15 minutes off throughout the day, obviously allowing a bit longer for lunch and all that sort of stuff. But it's just it's bite-sized chunks. I think what they say, see, listen to me, I know what I'm talking about, I just don't practice it. It's
okay, so it's, you know, yeah, and it's okay because we're in challenging times, different times. It's giving ourselves a break as well. I have to remind myself not to get so serious in this whole thing. I know there's a serious aspect to it and a very sad aspect to it, to the crisis, and yet we still have to get on with our lives. The question I've asked myself, I think I heard somebody else saying this: what do I want my children to remember about this time? Do they want me to remember mom going around panicking, fearful, anxious, or do they want to see me calm, being a bit silly now and again, like I can be with my kids? I keep asking them to do a TikTok with me, but they won't let me because they're afraid I'm going to
that's a step too far. I think you're quite right. And this is the thing, is the fact we have to remember, whatever age, our kids are like sponges. And it's like, just as you said, you're captain of the team. And if we are anxious and uptight and cross and narky, that energy, come on. I mean, I liken it sort of going into do you remember in the good old days when you went into a pub and everyone was smoking? That's not allowed any longer. But your clothes, and, you know, you pick up all that smoke. And this is what energy is like. People, you know, if you ever walk into a room and you go, whoa, what's going on here? That's the energy of good vibes, bad vibes. And I think I know our kids are susceptible to that. We can't hide what's going on about this pandemic, and nor should we, because especially older kids, if, you know, they've got access to the internet anyway, they know what's going on. So if we start giving them bluster, it ain't going to work. Younger ones, we need to be calm, we need to be reassuring, we need to make sure our kids aren't subject to the media the whole time, because that in itself is appalling, that the negativity spewing out from the media is ridiculous. So I think we need to be that steady, that sort of, you know, that keep the rudder straight, and if you are struggling, let them know and go, guys, my head's all over the place, bear with me here, because then they get it, rather than, you know. And I think it's all right for all of us to show emotions, just don't lose control, really. I think that's the trick.
And what I've practiced myself is, if it just becomes too much for me some days, and I know if I spend too long on technology, and because of the Zoom meetings, and because I have an IT background, and because I've discovered you have a technology background as well, which is quite new to me, I like to get into things and get them working. So I love to just get this thing working this morning, you know, the Zoom and the Facebook Live. But then when I'm on too long, I get overwhelmed. So yesterday evening, I just had to say, let me out here after the dinner. I just have to go for a walk.
Yeah.
So earphones in and just walk down to the park. We're lucky we have a park or a big field close by to us.
Yeah.
So it is about taking that personal space.
Well, that's the trick. And I've got both my kids are in London.
Okay.
One of which has a balcony, which is fine, and the other one who does not. And I've sort of said, the importance of fresh air is vital. And so Jack was saying, yeah, that's fine, but the people in the park are just being irresponsible. He said, it winds me up something rotten. And so the point is, I said, well, okay, you might have to be going for a midnight stroll then. You might have to be doing something. Get lots of, sit as close to open windows, get the vitamin D, get the fresh air, but if you have to sort of, well, maybe not a midnight stroll, but if you've got to go out at 10 in the evening or 6 in the morning, you went 6 in the morning, you're having a laugh. But I said, his mental health, everyone's mental health is vital. I was watching on the news and they say this pandemic is going to have repercussions on people's mental health for decades. So it is our responsibility to be responsible about our own mental health. And that includes space and time and fresh air and all that sort of loveliness and exercise and less of these screens, which is...
So the word that's coming to me is balance.
Totally.
And I think as well, as we're adapting now through this time, imagine, I suppose I'm thinking about myself and my own family, if we can introduce habits now that will actually stay with us afterwards.
What habits are you creating that you've suddenly realized you want to take on for sort of future, for, sort of real life?
Setting boundaries with the kids and, setting boundaries around my work and being flexible and being more agile around that, but still getting things done and not pushing and forcing things. Like the old model was do. That's what I learned when I was working full time. Okay.
Totally. Yeah.
So it's more about being in my strength now and leading and actually setting boundaries and setting time slots and then switching off my work, because I could be on my laptop later on in the evening because I love learning and I love watching other people and learning new things, and it's nice to get a bit of social media just to switch my mind off, but then I have to put a boundary on that. So it's nearly like I have to switch my phone off.
But then that you're quite right, and that is sending a message to your kids as well. That is sort of saying, listen, I'm practicing what I preach here. And we say to our kids, so we have said all along, get off those devices. And this is the irony: is now this technology is our lifeline. It is our window to the world, and so the joke's on us, really, because we are now clinging to technology, all the while going, we've got to try and monitor our children's sort of, behavior online. And it's hard because this is, especially now, how we socialize even more, how we interact, how we work, how we learn, how we do everything. But as you say, it's the balance. And I think maybe that's where the Pomodoro might come in, is, you can do half an hour on screens, half an hour off screens, rather than do 4 hours of screen time, break it up maybe.
So being really mindful of your time off during the day. Like I'm really consciously saying at lunchtime, guys, I'm off the laptop. Anybody wants it, come in here, you can have my laptop. But I want them to have their lunch and breaks at the same time as well, as much as possible. And like last night, because they're back into school routine. Now it's back to, you're going to have to kind of go to bed earlier and get up a bit earlier. So there was resistance around that. There was like, oh, I know my friends are staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Why are you so mean, mommy? And I'm saying, I understand other parents may allow that, but sorry, that's not the way it's going to work here. I don't mind you staying up late, maybe on a Friday night or Saturday night, maybe till 12 or whatever, or 1. And then because they want to kind of try out these things now as young teenagers. But it's like during the week, sorry, you're back in school routine as much as possible.
Are your guys getting good support from school? Are they getting?
They are, every day and every evening. They're getting an email the night before with all the work, and an email the next day with all the answers and support videos and they've even had a video of their principal. He recorded a song for them because they have assembly every week. So like they've done things like that. Like
that's
they had a Zoom
brilliant.
meeting before Easter where they all came in together on Zoom, the whole class.
Oh wow! Right.
I wanted to come in and have a look, but they wouldn't let me into the room.
You're not. This is school time, Mum. Go away. You're not invited. You see, that's really, you're very fortunate, because a number of people in my Facebook group just say, no, our kids have been abandoned. And so how, as a parent, you try and instill a working sort of school routine when the school aren't even providing the work for them to do? I mean, it's ridiculous. And maybe it's going to be different. Maybe that now it's a new term. It's right. You know, those schools have got right. Well, we know where we're going, but it's hard if you do not have the support. Having said that, other parents have said the amount of work that we're being given is appalling. Yeah. You know, so it's just balance. It is. Yeah. So how do you cope with, have you got how many devices have you got amongst the sort of family? Is that a problem for you guys? Or are you
we have one laptop. We have an older laptop, but it's too slow, so I've put it away. So generally they don't need a laptop though.
Good.
They don't use a laptop. They have their own phones.
Yeah.
So they all have their own phones individually.
Yeah.
So I know my eldest daughter, she accesses her schedule from her school. They have an app and they're downloading, and they can upload their exercise and assignments through that app.
Oh, good. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So the girls, they're doing their homework from the Gmails. They print them off from my laptop and the printer every day.
Yeah. So they've got themselves into quite a good routine then.
Yeah, but some days it's good, and then there's days where it's not so good, but
sure, but that's life. And that's the thing, is the fact that we forgot that prior to all this, we had good days and bad days, didn't we? Yeah. And so it's all right if sort of it all goes belly up, and so many times I just, right, okay, today is going to be a duvet day because I just want to pull the drawbridge up, but that's all right.
Yeah.
As long as we don't sort of turn that into a habit, as long as we go, right, now I'm recharged, now I can get back at it and sort of start doing the things, back to as normal as it can be.
Yeah.
But,
So one other thing that's come to mind is when people are all in the one house and people are getting triggered with each other. What would you recommend with that?
Right. Well, there's a number of issues here, but let's look at what a lot of parents are saying to me is sibling rivalry is an issue.
Yeah.
In that, just kids squabbling, kids. Have you got us?
Hold on. I'm after putting. See the comments. Hold on. I just put it on silent. Hold on a wee second. Sorry. There's loads of comments coming in here, you see.
Oh, good. Well, I've been trying to look at them, and every time I press the button, it takes me to Zoom. So I can't see the comments, I'm afraid.
I can, but I'm going to have to turn the volume off. Hold on. Oh, yes, I have the volume button now. I've got it. Hold on. We'll come back to the comments in a minute.
Okay.
Hold on, I just put it on silent. Hold on a wee second. The volume off. No, I'll turn it off. You continue talking. I'll check the comments in a minute.
Okay. So we're talking about sibling rivalry. The best way, the way I say to parents is, in any behavior from our kids, if we look at the positive intention behind that behavior, it makes us feel so much sort of more at ease, because we look at our kids and go, God, they're being little so-and-sos, and and then your child doesn't wake up in the morning going, how the heck am I going to annoy mum today? They don't. Yeah. And so the thing is that what we need to understand is what is the positive intention behind their behavior. And 95% of the time, especially in this sort of situation, is they are looking for your attention.
Yes.
Now, it might not just be, please, will you have a game of Scrabble with me, mum? It might not be that. What it might be is, I'm scared. so I need reassurance. Or it might be, I'm hungry and I need something to eat. Or, you know, and whatever it is, and it's just trying to work out what actually is the message that's coming across. And it could be boredom, it could be jealousy, it could be anxiety, and we need to pick at that and work at that. And so what I do suggest is try and spend one-to-one time with your kids. We do have the time to do it. I know I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, no, I've never been so busy. That's fine. But I am hoping that if COVID teaches us nothing else, it's looking at what's really, really important. And let's face it, family is pretty high up there. So I would suggest spending quality time with each child. Now, you could be baking a cake with one, you could be going for a walk with the other, you could be doing an Xbox game. Deal with it. And what it is doing stuff not that you think would be best for them, but something that floats their boat. Something. I with my kids, Mike and I used to sort of, and I only learned this the other day, we used to sit there and do a Zoom call, shoulder to shoulder, peer at the kids and go, everything all right? Are you eating okay? And they go, yeah. And then it is sort of, see you next time. And then, oh, they looked all right. And, you know, and then what happened was I bunged my headphones in and had a Zoom call with Jack. And an hour and a half later, we finished talking. And the funny thing is then after that, I heard Mike talking in the background. I said, who are you on the phone to? And he went, Jack. And they were on the phone for an hour. And so, the point is that what your children need is one-to-one time. So that, and the thing is, it doesn't have to be equal. You know, one child might just need 10 minutes, or another child might need an hour and a half. It doesn't matter as long as it's fair. Because what tends to happen is one child needs more attention one day and the other child needs it another day. Thankfully, they somehow inadvertently dovetail their needs. But it's just a way of finding out why is all this squabbling going on? Why are we all, and it's just acknowledging it and going, oh my God, I get it. You know, we're on top of each other. Tell you what, I mean, seriously, I'm here with my darling husband. This is teaching me what retirement's going to be like. And what we tend to do is he works upstairs, I work downstairs, and then we sort of meet up in the evening and go, how was your day, dear? Which is wonderful because I think we all need space, and it doesn't definitely. You know, and I mean, how are you doing it? How are you coping?
Well, my husband was working only 2 days a week. He normally works 5 days a week out of the house, but in the first few weeks, he was only working 2 days a week. So we were all adapting to being here because we all have different ways of dealing with situations. Yes. But I was trying not to control and be in my office and plug my ears so that I could just focus here and just let them get on with it. And they did. And you know, intuitively, I think I spend time with the kids one-to-one, or pick up when some of them need time. Yeah. You know, and I love that reminder of the positive intention. That was something I learned in NLP.
It is such an NLP, yeah, it is. Yeah. One of the golden rules.
Always look for the positive intention behind the behaviour, and it's a good reminder, actually. Yeah. And there's loads of comments coming in on our screen. Do
you want to take a couple? I can't see them. Do you want to take a couple of them?
Yeah, but what's going to happen is the volume's going to come on when I look at these comments. And it's a good reminder. Hold on. India has come in. Mary has come in. Lovely to see you together. Absolutely magic. Krishna. Krishna is saying we've had very little. It's done in an hour. Oh, that must have been about the homework.
The homework, yeah.
Yeah, so they're the questions that were coming in. There wasn't any specific questions. It's just people that have joined us at different times.
Okay, that's cool. Well, Inga, Mary, and Krishna, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so any other challenges? We've been on about a half an hour now. Are you happy to go on for another few minutes?
I'm happy enough, yeah.
Yeah.
What some mums will say to me is that they've got issues where space is a problem.
Okay.
And that, you know, as you have appreciated just here, that forget about the space, but boundaries are an issue. And you say to your child, I'm going to be, live on Facebook for this amount of time, and then they come in and go, Mom. But I think the thing is trying to establish boundaries. What I did suggest with one mum is to say, well, go and put an ironing board up and make that your desk. And she went, oh my God. And so now she's sitting there at an ironing board, or she's actually using it as a walk-on desk. And so the kids know, if mum is by the ironing board, do not go anywhere near her. And so she now has her headphones in, and that is her workspace, because they're doing school time at the kitchen table, and then husband's sort of somewhere doing something else. And sometimes it's really hard when we are just trying to adapt. But the point is that we can, if we are all respectful of each other's space and time. Yeah. And this is what we all need to learn, is and actually going back to the sort of sibling rivalry, one thing I did sort of suggest to my group was get your kids to cook the family meal together. Without mum or dad or whoever's in the house, without sort of too much adult supervision. Now, age appropriate, no carving knives, they're 5, come on, let's be sensible. But the point is that what that does is that gives your kids a project together without looking for adult approval. And it doesn't matter, let's face it, Fidelma, it doesn't matter if it's cheese on toast or if it's beurre bourguignon. I mean, the very fact that someone's sort of cooking for me is a blimmin' bonus. It's so much nicer. And the instruction is, I'm going to be sitting here on my Zoom call, watching EastEnders with a glass of Sauvignon, who cares? You can only consult me if the house is sort of burning down. Yeah. And it gives the kids, what you will hear is, he's doing it wrong. But then suddenly they start sort of working it out, and they start communicating together. Yeah. And so
standing back and getting out of the way.
It's changing the roles, and I think it's quite important for us all to realize that there's this joke, that this meme that was going around, lots of saying, we now no longer are we going to ask what stay-at-home mums do every day, because we blimmin' well know. And and it's just new territory for some people, and we are learning, and we, as you sort of said earlier, we just need to relax the rules a bit and give ourselves a break, because we're learning. There is no rule book for what you do in week 4 or 5 of a pandemic. On Tuesday you do this. We don't get that. So, so
it is about, I have to remind myself about bringing the fun back into it.
We tend to take things terribly seriously and want to get it all right, don't we?
We do, yeah. And like the work that I do with women is helping them to let go of this perfectionism and this wanting to control and not saying no, and to really value their time. So this is an opportune time. If you've had a dream project or a dream business that you've been wanting to really get off the ground, this is time to dedicate to yourself, to actually make time to make it happen. And I know for me, I'm adapting and implementing things that I had been thinking about for a while. Bravo. And actually coming online and collaborating here with you, this is new for me.
Yes.
So it's getting outside our comfort zone and saying, how can I grow? How can I actually make use of this time?
Well, you're quite right. And this is your zone of genius, is that women are very, very good at putting themselves at the bottom of the pecking order. And what that sort of says to everyone else, it sends a message to say, mum doesn't matter so much. But more to the point, it sort of says to our daughters, you won't matter as much when you're mum's age, which is absolutely, if you think about it that way, that is absolutely criminal. You wouldn't want to be sending that message. And so we need to practice self-care. And I don't mean nails and lavender baths. Though those are lovely, we need to do exactly as you did, is I've had enough, I'm going for a walk, and I need to put myself back up there and get someone else to do the cooking and get someone else. And just to say, no, I'm protecting my own sanity, mental health, whatever you want to call it.
Yes. And I know that I'm an empath, highly sensitive, and I've learned that over the last number of years running my own business. So I have to really be mindful of my energy, because I pick up everybody's energy, and I'm quite intuitive And as an empath, if there's any moms out there who are finding that their energy is drained, or that they're really exhausted during this time, it's really being mindful of being able to ground yourself every morning, taking that time. Like, I still get up at 7 most mornings to try and just have that time in the morning to journal, to ground myself, to do some energy management around my own day.
No, you're quite right. Exactly. And it's working out what works for you. So, you know, meditation might work for someone. But, you know, I do journaling. I am learning meditation, if you can call it learning. But doing all those things that sort of feed my soul. And because then I'm able to give more to whoever needs it. Yeah. And you're right, because I would sort of class myself as an empath too. And a couple of years ago I didn't, and I gave and gave and gave and gave. And suddenly one day just woke up and the white flag came out, and I can't do this. And that's not the situation we want to get to. No. We want to be able to. So it's self-care is not a luxury. It's an absolute necessity.
It is. Yeah. So let me think. I had some doodles down here about. We've talked about the rivalry, overuse of technology, adapting our day, planning differently. And if fear comes up, you know, and fear and grief are two things that's around a lot in the whole collective.
I think the thing is with fear, our minds are problem-solving organs, mechanisms, whatever you want to call it. And what happens is fear sort of comes in, or anxiety, or grief, or whatever. And what sort of tends to happen is this big scary thing sort of comes in, and we look at it and we go, oh no, I don't want to talk about that. No. And because our unconscious mind needs to solve it and get it sorted and work out what's going on, this fear comes back even bigger and hairier and louder. And what we need to do is to address those fears and to acknowledge what's going on. And the first thing I say about any of our feelings, any of our emotions, is just sit down and, if you need professional help, please seek it. That goes without saying that, that's a given. But sometimes we just need to, even if you sort of sit there and think of some really embarrassing time and go, oh no, I can't think about that. Oh no, just make, But when you start confronting your fears and looking at them and acknowledging them, what seems to happen is our brain starts unpicking it and going, that really was quite, okay. And if we acknowledge all those feelings, then it sort of stops them getting bigger and scarier. And we start unpicking it and go, okay, well, what's going on here? And especially with what's going on here is uncertainty is a big one, worries and what ifs and would and should, and we need to sort of sit down and go, okay, what can I control and what can't I control? And the thing is so people go, well, I might die. Well, we are all going to die at some stage, without wanting to sound too flippant. But the point is, yes, you might, but you can minimize the risks. You can do something about it. You can do as you're told, stay in and act responsibly. But it's just, I think the thing is, when things get really scary, we don't acknowledge what's going on. We try and sort of push it all away. And that just snowballs. And I think the thing is, this is where self-care comes in. You might need to take your shoes and socks off and stand in the grass and just ground, or just sit there with a cup of coffee, well, maybe herbal tea, because coffee will get your head going. But just sit down in a quiet space and go, what's really going on here? And maybe even challenge what you're thinking, because 97% of the things that we worry about never, ever happen. So it's just being kind to yourself and your kids as well. Your kids might be angry that they've been robbed of their end of school parties. They might be angry that actually, dare I say it, they're not sitting their A-levels or their GCSEs. And rather than go, no, it'll be all right in the end, they need to feel that their feelings are validated as well. So it's going, this sucks. This is really bad for all of us. How can I support you? How can I support myself? What can I do to make things better? Do I need to talk about them? What we mustn't do is internalize any of this.
Yeah, so it is about communication. It's about improving our communication.
It is. And there's one, there's a lot of work behind emotions and panic and fear and breath work. And I'm not going to get into the science of it. Breath work is massive. And I've got a very sort of quick one, which I call box breathing, which is just think of a box. And there are loads of others. I've got a course on breath work, but it's if you basically think of a box and breathe in for 4 and hold it, and breathe out for 4 and hold it, and breathe in for 4, and then you just keep doing this. And what that says to your unconscious mind is, don't worry, I've got this. And I'm just taking a little breather, because you can even hear my voice is
calming down.
So breath work is massive, and it cannot be underestimated.
Yeah, it is. All these simple, practical techniques. And I suppose if I was to recap on things even from this call with us that I have to remind myself, is the positive intention of anybody's behaviour in this situation. Even somebody that's out in the field this morning, when I was out with my dog and they were playing golf in the field, 2 adult men whacking their balls. And then I was saying, the positive intention, they're out doing this, but I wish they weren't doing it in the field around when they could hit somebody. So it's not to get into the whole story of that, and bring myself back to the present moment and to be present.
If we go to NLP again, one of the rules of NLP is the map is not the territory, which basically means walk a mile in someone's shoes, because everyone has a different experience of what's going on. And someone sort of said to me, oh, well, I'm absolutely furious. I was at the garden centre and there were loads of people there. Okay, right, there's the irony, love. But the thing is that someone might be at the garden centre because they could be an alcoholic and trying to remain sober. They could be someone with depression and need to get outside to, so we have to remember that everyone is walking a different path, and their motivations might be very, very credible. And again, as you say, so that's the positive intention, is work out what's, your story is not their story.
No. And it's okay for loads of people having different opinions at the moment on social media about whatever they want to rant about, but to really bring yourself back and be centered and grounded in your own, what you want to be creating in this time.
Totally.
And use this time to either reset and assess what you want in life, or just to take a pause. I know many people are taking a pause in their business.
Yes.
And it's an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to actually adapt and pivot in your business.
Yeah. And I think many people have said to me, well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going back to 5 days a week.
Yeah. Loads of people have said that.
Yeah, which is cool, because you could probably still get the same amount of work done in X days. So why not just, you use one of those 3 days for something more rewarding. So even it doesn't have to, it could be something, a totally different business, or it could be personal time or whatever. And it's planning that. It's planning what we can do sort of once we get out of here.
Yeah, I know. And it's to have the hope and the faith that we will come through this together. Totally. And that we are learning loads from this. And that my heart goes out for the families who are losing people, and, for the amount of people that are being grieved and the loss that's happening in this. And I think as a collective, though, it is connecting us all at a different level.
Thankfully, and I think the longer this goes, I mean, they all say that a habit takes X number of days to sort of, be ingrained. And I think we need to be self-isolating. We need to be housebound, so that really hits home, and we can work out how best to spend our time in the future.
Yeah. So Kai, I know you have an offer you want to share for the moms or the parents.
Thank you. It's if anyone has got an issue, if anyone's still struggling, then I've got a troubleshooter call, which is a 30-minute call, which allows us to dig deep in to find out sort of what's going on. I will send you away at the end of it with takeaways, with sort of something to sort of set you on your way to sort of sort out what's going on. If indeed we know that you might need to dig a bit deeper or need more work, then the price of the call, which it's been reduced from £75 to £45, caigraham.com/troubleshooter. I will credit the call if we go and work deeper. But it's just something. If there's something that you just need to get sorted, then we can work that out.
Okay, brilliant. And if you send me the link, I can post it on the Facebook page, on my Facebook page above this video. Brilliant. If anybody wants it later on.
That's lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm putting an offer out there as well. If there's any woman who's listening to this call and who's struggling with your business, or you're deciding you want to actually pivot and make some changes to your own business, there's an opportunity. You can book a call with me. And I'm also allowing a reduction in my normal price. So I'm offering a 30-minute call at €97. It's normally a lot more, but I'm just offering that out there. So I'll post a link as well above this video afterwards, where you can book it and you can apply to come and have that conversation with me. And it's about maybe even putting a 30-day plan in place. Maybe you can't see beyond, or you're just stuck and you can't see how you're going to make this work now in this current situation. I can help you to do a 30-day plan, just to see what are your next steps to get you over this hump, and to actually maybe do the thing that you've always desired you wanted to do, and you didn't know how to get, you just couldn't see a way possible. I can help you to do that. So look, it's been a joy talking with you here this morning, Kai.
It was so lovely. Thank you for making it so easy for us.
Yeah, and it's amazing what I can do with my tech background when I put my mind to it.
You're quite right.
Yeah, I love to simplify systems and make them easy.
Yes. Oh, I'm with you on that one. Yes. So to be able to get Zoom onto Facebook Live so seamlessly, I salute you. So well done.
Yeah, and I'll come back to the comments for any questions written, and you can see them as well. Maybe you can answer some of them on the thing afterwards.
Brilliant. Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you guys are watching on the replay, please keep asking questions, because Fidelma and I will be. So yeah. we will answer anything that comes through.
Okay. We'll wrap up then.
All right, my love. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And stay safe, everyone.
Okay, stay safe. Everyone is right. Yes. And we'll see you soon.
Thanks so much.
Bye. Thanks, Kai. Thanks for everybody watching. Thank you.